Welcome back to the Orca Boat Shop. I'm Rod. Look, I'm going to be working on this lovely little Ken Douglas 9-foot traditional built rowboat. Ken Douglas built hundreds of these little rowboats, a 9-footer, 12-footer, little sailing versions in Burnaby, BC, and they're all over the Vancouver area. They're really hard to come by because most people that own one of these just refuse to sell them, but I was lucky enough to pick this little 9-foot rowing version up from an elderly couple, downsizing, not going to use it anymore, just wanted to find a good home for it. So I've taken it apart. I took all of the internal parts out of it because I wanted to scrape it clean as best I could and revarnish, so all the parts are done. The next thing I'd like to do is to actually take some lines off of this boat, and maybe I could reproduce it in some form. So the first step in taking the lines will be to determine water lines. So I'm going to need to take this little baby on a road trip. I'll throw it in the back of the pickup truck, which it nicely fits into. Take it up the lake and just let it sit there and float and make some marks as to where the water line is. Then that base water line will become sort of the level line where all the measurements will be taken from, that I can set it up in the shop here with my laser level and then start measuring everything off, taking lines, writing everything down, taking patterns, and then maybe one day being able to reproduce this little baby. Alright, I've got the little Douglas sitting in the lake here, and I'm just going to take a permanent marker, make a few marks, trying not to push down on the boat as I hold it in place, and just going to make a mark across the keel on the back, maybe a little down the sides of the keel, and then move towards the bow. It floats quite high up in the water. Don't imagine it'll sink any lower with all the parts and pieces in it. There's only 5 to 8 pounds of thwarts and decks and parts and pieces that have been removed for varnishing. Alright, now that I've got all the marks I need, a couple of marks on the stem at the bow and a few marks on the keel at the stern, I can just put her back in the truck and take her back to the shop. Alright, she's back in the shop. Got a faint mark here, a little bit wet, hard to write with, so I'm just going to take a ruler and my black felt marker and make a good line across there. Now don't worry about that, I'm going to be sanding and repainting, so I'll have those marks on both sides. They should be fairly even. Just kind of eyeball it, but we'll use a laser level later to correct it all, but it gives us a starting point. So I've got those marks there, and I'll move around and do it on the keel. So that'll do it for this episode. Now that I've got the water line marked, I can move on to taking some lines off this boat. So we're going to set up a whole series of videos on taking lines, taking patterns of all the parts and pieces, and see if we can create a set of plans. Thanks for watching. But wait, don't go yet. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and maybe click that bell so you'll be notified of any new videos.